Any other? No. Yes.
What do you figure caused? You said in the last few weeks you've noticed that borrowers that your fund is talking to have kind of changed their perspective. I mean, I think the question that a lot of people are wondering about is what's going to be the catalyst to get to the very bottom of that curve that you drew earlier tonight?
Yes.
So what's happened in the last few weeks, or otherwise, what's going to be the catalyst?
Well, the government's doing everything it can to forestall the inevitable. And it's doing so by allowing for tremendous forbearance on the lenders, right? In the commercial mortgage-backed securities market, inertia on the part of the special servicers is doing the same thing. But ultimately, things are dealt with, right? And ultimately, you can put your finger in a lot of plugs and stem, the waterfall a bit. But if it's Niagara Falls, there's not enough fingers to stem the power of that waterfall. And I think that what I'm seeing that's changing that is, some banks are not always saying, yeah, I'll extend, right? That creates a pressure point for the borrower to have to deal with it. Banks are being told by the regulators, certain banks, you need to start selling some of these, and I know it's worth 20 cents on the dollar, but you need to start selling things. The FDIC is taking over banks and selling things. It's happening slowly. There's a whole issue of mark-to-market, right? Mark-to-market forbearance created this stall position because it allowed loans to not be mark-to-market and banks to hold them. But now there's new talk. The winds change every few months in Washington. Now there's talk of reimposing loan-based mark-to-market accounting for banks. So all I can say is the pressure is building, and I'm seeing it. I'm starting to see, even in the last 2 weeks, a more, when I say 8.25, there's not a flinching. You know what I mean? Okay, that sounds reasonable. And that wasn't the answer I was hearing 2 and 3 weeks ago for an 8.25, 70% loan-to-value loan. So I'm starting to see an acknowledgement that that's reasonable on the part of the borrower. And I'm also starting to see some bank selling of loans at fair prices. Not a lot. It's the beginning. I think it's the very beginning. But I believe that over the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to see a period of distress selling that will rival the RTC period. Yes?
So how do you see the assets being cleared in the final analysis? We have the RTC.
Right.
Boom, securitization. What's the common point? Where will we start seeing assets cleared out?
Well, I think that we're going to have a recapitalization of assets at a different level. So people, whether it be banks or bondholders or insurance companies, are going to suffer losses in a new mark-to-market. And low values will inspire new capital to come in and buy loans and buy assets, and then we'll see some recovery. I mean, the whole $6 trillion of real estate aren't going to change hands, right? So we're not going to see a loss of the full magnitude. But some 20% will have to change hands at the lows in order to inspire a rebound. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think it'll be driven by defaults. I think ultimately, when a borrower can't pay his mortgage, it's very hard at that point for a lender to pretend that that's a good loan anymore and it deserves to be marked at par. And I think defaults, as they cascade, and I believe they will, that will trigger a kind of reality moment for the marketplace. Yes?
What's going to be the impact of these legacy lending programs through the FDIC?
You mean I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Are you talking about, the question was, what about the legacy lending programs with the FDIC? Are you talking about the loss sharing agreements that they have with buyers of banks, or are you talking about the PPIP legacy loan program that was announced and then shut down?
Yeah, the PPIP.
Okay. It was shut down. They shut it down because within weeks of announcing, the PPIP legacy loan program was going to be a program that the Treasury was going to write a check dollar for dollar against private capital and then leverage that capital 6 to 1 or 7 to 1 or some number, right? And so $1 of private capital would buy $14 of loans, right, with this equity matching and the leverage. And there was a whole level of excitement that would create this RTC-like buying opportunity, and that, you know, the Treasury and the Fed and the FDIC were going to force some reality on the part of banks to sell into this PPIP program. And kind of incongruously, within weeks of announcing the PPIP program, Congress pressured the FASB, the Accounting Governance Group, to undo mark-to-market accounting for loans. And so as soon as they did that, the motivation for banks to sell loans at a price that PPIP buyers would want to buy went away, right? Private money would probably pay on average 60 to 70 cents on the dollar for bank loans today. But the banks have them marked at something like 97 cents on the dollar. And so unless the banks are being forced to sell and take that 30, 40% hit, why would they do it, right? And when FASB was forced to kind of modify the mark-to-market accounting treatment so it didn't apply to loans anymore, there was no longer any pressure. The forbearance had been given to banks to not realize the value. And why lock in a loss if you don't have to? So PPIP died on the vine because of the mark-to-market change. And now maybe it's come back if FASB reverses that, which they're talking about doing.
Thanks. In addition to the 78 emails I've already sent you about this event, we're going to send one more with all of these slides, with a link to all of these slides. And I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So thank you for coming, and please feel free to stay and visit with Ethan. And on behalf of myself and Mark Fewen and all of CB Richard Ellis, thank you for your business.
Thank you.